तुमादि देवः पुरुषा पुराणः तुमस्य विश्वस्य परम निधानम वेत्तासि वेद्यम च परम सधाम त्वया ततम विश्वमनंतुरु वायु यमः अग्निवर्णः शशांकः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहस्य नमो नमस्तेस्तु सहस्रकृत्वा पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते। You are primeval God, you are the primordial spirit, you are the ultimate shelter of universe, you are knower, the noble and supreme abode. The universe is fully pervaded by you, being of definite forms. You are the God of wind, God of death, God of fire and water, the moon god and great grandfather of wings. We salute to you thousands and again and again. In last session, I have described the types of ego or arrogance, and in this session is most important because I want to present some points for retirement of arrogance or to finish the process of ego. So this session is very important. And now, remedy for arrogance retirement. There is no special way of ego retirement, but by constant means the ego life form and disappears from the body as the ice melts after getting heat, just like the heat of continuous practice. The ego defect also gets out of the body. A person who has reached near perfection gets completely eradicated from the defect of ego. Some points of ego retirement are presented. Please, seekers, consider them, and it would be appropriate to treat them as well. First point A. The power of our body is deprived from us. Its completion over time is certain. Because of this, the things which is received from somewhere is not ours and going to end soon. We should not ego on it. Next, when we came to earth and did not have any opulence. The immense wealth that we have received is derived from our destiny, which was not born of birth and has been received by chance and is going to be separated from us after death. For this reason, we should not have arrogance on the vast wealth and its opulence. Reputation was not there in the past. It has been attained after our destiny. And auspicious deeds, if we continue to do devotion and self-respect of God, then we will not prestige and will cease to do the deeds, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Bhakti, then the prestige itself will end. Thus, we should not be arrogant over the prestige gained as a result of self-study and auspicious deeds. Next, the social, political, governmental, administrative positions that we have received due to coincidence. It is the result of our own actions. The position that it will not received how we are today cannot be tomorrow. Therefore, we should not use our rights which we have got in the verse which is in our position. But for the sake of charity, we do not have any kind of arrogance on the post which we got for limited time. Next, you must have seen a person in poverty, and if you see him in old age, then you will find that the beauty which was in poverty was become extinct, and in old age it is not enough to have arrogance over such extinct physical beauty. Next, Ravana, who had taken pride in enmity with Lord Ram, all of them were killed in the battlefield. Weapons are Meghnad, Kumbhakarna ended up in the battlefield. If he had not committed arrogance on his people, he would not have considered himself to be a war. On the basis of power of people, the arrogance of the mass force is automatically destroyed. Therefore, we should never ego our mass force. Next, according to law of God, work goes on, does not work according is our strength. We cannot do anything for our ability. We should definitely follow the principle. If we could not some work with the out of our strength, then we should have bought all the things of earth. For this reason, we should discharge our duties for thinking that there is no strength in us. It is not enough to make us ego at our power. Next, whether we are in prestigious post or in a government, administrative or judicial post, if we have a person who has brought his problem and he is in our power, is in jurisdiction, then we must address the problem. Should do if we do not listen to his side, we suffer from really neglect of ego. We have to suffer his sin. We must discharge our responsibility. By not doing so, we fall prey to ego. We should use wisdom God has given us. It is the duty of man to understand the difference between knowledge and ignorance, know the difference between karma and akarma, and realize duty and non-duty, understand what is true. In ignorance, we should not subnormally stand for the false reputation of our faith. We should strive the knowledge of truth and abandon the ego of arrogance. Next, the destiny is built on the basis of own actions. According to destiny, we get high or low total. All these happens naturally by themselves. We do not make any effort in this. We have been born in higher clan than it is according to destiny. For this reason, we should never arrogance of higher clan. Next, when we are honored by someone, then the possibility of arrogance of worship process in him. When desire comes in the mind of respect of worship, we become ego. In the absence of desire, respected and worship automatically attend, and we also eradicated from the ego of worship. Brahmin is the highest Varna. With a higher Varna, God has arranged the duties for them the most. The higher Varna should never ego his higher Varna, because if he has performed his duties, his upper class is meaningful. If not done, there is no intention of quality less quality. High is tenly but attained only according to destiny. Without destiny, for this reason we should not be arrogant of higher salvation. Next, a devotee of God never ego. His surrenders in the egoism to God. The ego is not allowed to enter into devotion of God. If ego retires, it is not devotion in God. This is contradiction. Devotion and arrogance are opposite to each other, just like light is opposite of darkness. Knowledge is ignorance, and devotion of God comes whatever the ego automatically disappear. Next, India, ascetic or equated with God, they are worshipped as they are in the real form of God. For the reason it is not enough to keep arrogance in the highness of sannyas ashram. Knowledge is called light, whether it is a cosmic knowledge for transcendental knowledge. Each type of knowledge is characterized. This gives is superiority. The ego of a knowledgeable person automatically ends in the definition of jnani. It is said that one who is egoless, he is the real knower. For this reason, the ego is knowledge has no meaning. Next, indifferent behavior. Behaving is in absolute sense, not disturbing anyone. All these qualities are automatically ejected from the circumstantial, immediate ego. What is happening in the world? what's going on, we should not experience this. What are doing, what is our effort, these versions should be kept. On the efforts of others, or should not take undue eye on their work, and also should not answer the unnecessary actions. In this way, we are ejected from the immediate ego. Next, it seems to be self-evident, a perfect person keeps his glow in the dark like a diamond. There is no need to tell the Siddha that we are perfect. His accomplishment seems to be self-evident. There is complete emptiness of ego in a perfect person. If a person believes in ego, then it should not be understood that he is not perfect. There is no defect in Siddh. The excellent seekers who know the meaning of scriptures through the self-study, through the continuous practice, lack of ego in them becomes immediate. This meaning of scripture is more clear than the grace of God arising from spiritual practice, less than the self-study of scriptures. Saint Kabir knew the meaning of the scriptures not through studies, but through his spiritual practice. For this reason, we also believe that by constant chanting of the name of God and his remembrance, the meaning of his scripture is automatically behaved and the scriptural ego be eliminated. Next, systematic worship method has a special importance in the worship of gods and goddesses. If there are no proper method in proper process of worship, there is doubt about the fruit or result. For this reason, it is enough for the nobleman and perform the rituals of Vedic yagyas to be understand the process of worshipping, and deities for the sacrificing of their ego and get the edicted in a correct manner. By doing so, the ego of the Vedas retired. A person completely abandons malevolence, and aspiration is called a regular yogi. Those who do hymns with the devotion of God and the devotion are called the best yogi among them. A person who looks at the body of others like his body, and the experiences happiness and sorrow like the body in the body of others is also called param yogi. The yogi is best yogi. The supreme yogi is ego gets retired. Next, for this reason, any person and considers himself to be a yogi oriented towards yoga or yogi should try to achieve the above situations, because on attaining the above conditions, the ego gets retired automatically. Next, there are some points of retirement of ego. The worship of the gods is our duty and deeds of every human being. We should worship the gods in devotion. By the worship the deities, the desire immediately provide the result and results available in their own right. There is no need to have a positive attitude in it. By worshipping in a senseless way, we automatically get rid of ego in the form of worship of the deities. Ego remains only he worshipping with positive attitudes. For this reason, in order to be removed from the ego of the form of Devopasana, we should worship the devotion of deities. Next, in the country of reverence in India, ghost worship is still practiced on a large scale. People believe in him, although as a result is arrogance. In the scriptures, ghost worship has been forbidden. This is the reason the ghosts are received only after the death of ghost. A person who is oriented towards God will not want to get into the fellowship of ghosts. For this reason, by renouncing the worship of ghosts, we should be eradicated from the ego of worshipping ghosts. Next, the type of siddhis that comes in scriptures is not achieved spontaneously. Siddhi is attained only in the highest level of the spiritual practice. A person who has reached the light stage of cultivation does not have to accept perfection. They become available automatically. Such are the rules in such excellent seekers. There is a lack of ego automatically. In this way, the ego destroyed on its own after attaining accomplishment. Next, the only Supreme God knows the past, the future and present. Therefore, it is called Trikaldarshi, knower of all time. The God is familiar with the beings of its contemplation, present and future. For this reason, we should not be covered by arrogance of any kind of future knowledge, present and past. Astrologers have knowledge is limited extent. They cannot be knower of past, present and future. Keeping this fact in view, we should be retired from the astrological arrogance. Next, after specific knowledge of a subject, when we reveal it with the speech, then we become a speechless ego. It is natural by itself. We can only be knowledgeable about one or many subjects of a subject. But God is provider of knowledge and is the knower. We